I work at a gay conversion camp. I'm about to expose the horrifying secrets they're hiding. When my friend suggested working with him at a Christian summer camp, I was so excited. I was great with kids and loved meeting new people, so working at the Rainbow Resilience Retreat sounded like great fun. I'm gay but still a devout Christian, so I thought it would be an opportunity to get closer with God. I just had no idea of the horrifying reality the camp was hiding. After a brief interview, I drove up with my friend to a location in the middle of the woods, far from any type of civilization. I really wasn't sure what I was anticipating, but it certainly wasn't what I saw as we pulled up to a dim forest with old-looking cabins. Despite the dingy area, I still thought it was a nice area. The air was fresh, and there's a beautiful lake right next to the campsite. However, there was one thing that really felt off. It was the people. I knew everyone here would be religious, but I didn't realize to what extent they would follow their beliefs. I go to church occasionally, and I guess I believe in God, but everyone here seems to be gunning to be the next pope. One girl has claimed that she literally hears God's voice when she prays. Another says that she once healed a friend with a broken ankle by putting her hands on it. And then there's Jordan, who said he's been at this camp since he was 4. When I met him, he looked me up and down and then stared at the middle of my forehead. When I asked him if everything was okay, he smirked and said, "I guess you'll find out soon." A bit weird, I thought, but people seem crazy here, so I didn't think much of it. Other than that, everything seemed fine at first. I signed up to instruct the camp's rock climbing and became good friends with a guy called Noah after we sat next to each other in church. Our camp leader was about 30 minutes into a rant about the evils of homosexuality when he leaned over and whispered, "Seems a bit hypocritical given the massive stick he has up his bum." It took all my might to not break into hysterics. The next day, we were inseparable. We made jokes while climbing. We kept rolling our eyes at each other whenever they went off on another anti-gay rant, and we sat nice and close to each other during meals and the nightly campfire. We were starting to become great friends, but neither of us knew the real reason he was sent here. We were both oblivious enough to think it was just a Christian camp. Only that night, things started to get very weird. It's when the screams started. All the counselors and workers at the camp slept in one cabin with separate rooms, whereas the campers slept in larger warehouse-type cabins with multiple bunk beds in each room. But as I tried dozing off to sleep at around 10 p.m., I heard it. It was screaming, agonizing screaming from somewhere in the distance. I jolted up out of bed and heard the screaming get louder when I opened the window, as if it was coming from the camper's cabin opposite us. Everyone around me was still sleeping somehow, but I guess I was a light sleeper because those screams were full of pure terror. After considering getting dressed to investigate or waking up another worker, the screaming abruptly stopped. It was dead silent, just as if nothing had ever happened. Somehow I managed to convince myself that it was just kids having fun playing, or that I was having some kind of nightmare. So after a few deep breaths, I managed to get myself back to sleep. The worst mistake I could have made. The next day, Noah was almost a totally different person, but I still spent the whole day with him. I felt really close with him, to the point where it felt like we were dating. However, that day something just felt off about him, as if he was hiding something. In the evening, he asked if he could talk to me about something. I knew this had to be something serious, since he didn't seem like the type to take much stuff serious. So we headed down one of the paths leading away from the Great Lodge. He seemed nervous, so I thought I'd break the ice by telling him about what I heard the night before. As I described it, she slowed his walk down until she came to a complete stop. She looked right at me with wide, fearful eyes. "What do you think it was?" he asked. His voice was almost shaking. I laughed a bit and said, "Well, I didn't really think much of it. I thought it was just kids playing or something." He gave me a strange look and turned down the path leading to the boys' cabins, leaving me stunned. I would have chased after him, but that would have broken the camp's cardinal rule, which states we aren't allowed to go into the campers' cabins. I tried calling for him to come back, but he'd already gone inside and closed the door. I had no idea what was wrong. I couldn't sleep that night. It was close to midnight, and I was still sitting there in my bed, wondering what the hell happened. I knew I had to talk to him. I quietly climbed out of bed, grabbed my flashlight, and put on my darkest clothes. Then I headed out towards his cabin, moving through the black forest path as deftly as I could and listening for any sounds of other people. I knew I'd be in a lot of trouble if I was caught out here. The path led out of the forest and then sloped down to the boys' cabins below. I stopped at the top of the hill and looked at them, focusing on his. It occurred to me that I didn't actually have a plan from here. Noah shared his cabin with other campers, and I didn't know which bunk was his. What was I expecting to do? Wake him up and ask him to talk to me? There was a 99% chance it would end up in me being sent home. As I stared at Noah's cabin from the hill, movement beyond it caught my eye. Someone was running through the soccer fields to the north, heading towards the cabins. I could barely make out the person, but I could see their flashlights swinging in their arms as they ran. They were moving at breakneck speed, maybe someone realizing they'd gone way past curfew. The person got closer, and in the faint moonlight I could make out their hot pink t-shirt and the long hair flowing behind them. Oh God, Noah. What was he doing? Noah reached the circle of cabins, but instead of going in, she cut around them and then started running away towards another section of the forest to the west. I wanted to call after him, but I knew it would wake up at least a few people. I wanted to chase after him, though I already knew I wouldn't be able to catch him. She was a veteran of this place, and I could barely navigate the forest in broad daylight. Still, I had to try. I took a step and was about to break off into a sprint when I saw it. Or, I think I saw it. It was another figure moving through the soccer fields towards the cabins. This one was all black, and I had to squint because I honestly don't know if I was truly seeing it, or if my mind and eyes were playing tricks on me. The figure, as I saw it, followed Noah's path around the cabins and into the trees to the west, where it promptly disappeared from sight. What on earth? I found myself falling down onto the cool grass, trying to understand what I had just witnessed. For a minute I wondered if I was currently dreaming up this surreal scene. Why was Noah running? Where was she going? And did I see something chase him? An ear-piercing scream from the woods broke me out of my daze. I jumped up and was once again about to start running for the forest when several lights in the cabins came on. Shit, they couldn't see me. I spun around and ran back through the woods and into my cabin. I got back in my sleeping bag and eventually fell asleep. That was last night. This morning Noah wasn't at breakfast, and when I asked the head staff where she was, I was told that he wasn't well and had gone home. His bunkmates and our fellow Rocks Ropes instructors didn't have anything to add beyond that. It seems like everyone I've spoken to has repeated the line of Noah being not well, and then telling me not to worry about it when I pressed on what was wrong. I'm unsure about God, and I don't really believe in demons, but like I said, there's something weird going on here at this camp, and I don't think it's just a Christianity camp.